they do. And apparently, one of the things that they're doing is they got Phil Jackson. It seems like Phil Jackson always pops up when there's a major franchise that needs some type of shift. You remember when Phil Jackson joined the Knicks front office, and you remember some of the picks Phil Jackson made. Let me remind y'all some of the things, some of the people he drafted. He drafted Frank Ntilikina. Remember? He drafted Kristaps Porzingis, which nobody heard about. Knicks fans were upset, but granted, the unicorn showed up. You know, it was like, okay, Phil Jackson, all right. But some of the coaches he selected were terrible. And, man, but okay, so this has got to be. Okay, Phil Jackson is apparently involved heavily with the Lakers coaching search. So, all right, what do you think? Is this a good idea or a bad idea for the Lakers to do this?
This is not a good idea at all, in my opinion. Phil Jackson, we know as a coach, great, you know, chips on chips, for sure. But as an executive, general manager, he hasn't had the best track record. And when he went to New York, we saw that, like, the Knicks, obviously being not a very stable franchise already, and trying to add the right pieces. Kristaps Porzingis was a great pick, and no one knew who he was. But once he got there, it was like, oh, I see. And that was his one, and it still didn't really work out at the end. He got traded away. He got hurt. Frank Ntilikina, I liked him when he, first got drafted. I was like, after his first couple of seasons, I was like, well, not so much of an impactful player. So no, I don't think that Phil Jackson is the answer to their issues with roster and filling out the organization. I don't think that's the right move because he hasn't really had a good track record from a hiring standpoint. As a coach, he was great, but if he was like, oh, I'll coach, then that would be something different. But I don't see that really working any better than what they're doing right now. If anything, Rob Pelinka and that organization has to figure it out. I don't feel like Phil Jackson's gonna do anything good for that for hiring their head coach. You got to talk that out with your organization. And it's weird because it's like he's not even. Are you hiring him as like a consultant or something, or what? Or you just like, oh, let's call Phil, see what he thinks, and he doesn't really have a good track record, so I don't see the point in it.
Yeah, he does have a good relationship with Jeannie Buss as well, so he can be an influence. Also, along with Phil Jackson, apparently Kurt and Linda Rambis have been like very involved with the Lakers as well. They don't have official titles, but apparently they give a lot of influence to what they do. So they need to be more organized at the top. Either way, I agree with everything you said. This is one thing. I don't want to see Phil Jackson coaching. It's been too long. I only see triangle offense. Who's running triangle today? Nobody.
Who do you have that can play in it if it's not Kobe and MJ?
Nope.
Yeah.
The NBA it's evolved into more since then. Now, with that being said, let's get into what coach you would like to see for the Lakers. We heard reports that Mark Jackson interviewed with the Lakers. There are a lot of talks heating up. Terry Stotts, former head coach of the Trailblazers, was interviewed. Darvin, they have a bunch of interest in Darvin Ham, who is still coaching right now in the playoffs. Assistant coach for the playoffs right now still. So, yeah, who do you see being a good fit for the Lakers?
I feel like the Lakers need a structure, if that makes sense, because it seemed like with Vogel, offensively, they didn't really have a setup of what they wanted to do. And to be fair, it was because of, their main guys being out of the lineup a lot with AD being hurt, LeBron missing games, and not knowing what to do with Russell Westbrook. But I feel like they need someone that's kind of a more stern type of coach who they respect. And it's not to say they disrespected Frank Vogel, but it seems like they kind of like I'm just gonna do whatever on offense. I think I like the Mark Jackson interview a lot, and I feel like he helped to groom what the Warriors became, and Steve Kerr, built on that. And I feel like with his basketball mind, combine that with LeBron, and I mean, at this point they still have Russell Westbrook. I don't see that, changing. I feel like he will be able to take the reins and give them a better sense of direction and work with because we know the GM, the coach, whatever you want to call LeBron, he's going to be very influential to say the least. But I feel like being able to work with like a Mark Jackson, someone I feel like be able to more easily listen to will be good. Terry Stotts, I think, is a good coach, but when it comes to his record, as far as going to the playoffs, he took the Blazers there for years and years, but they couldn't really get over the hump. And I think that they need someone with just a bit more sternness. I don't feel like Terry Stotts would bring that either. So I think Mark Jackson would be a good fit.
Yeah, I do like the interview Mark Jackson. Mark Jackson's been a coach. Whenever there's a head coaching announcement, a lot of people throw Mark Jackson and Van Gundy, right? These are the main people we hear, but they somehow just never get the job. So I wonder if this is more like lip service, but there's another report that they're waiting to see if Doc Rivers or Doc Rivers. He's definitely one of them. I'm drawing a blank on the other. Who else is in the league right now? All right, Budenholzer. There's somebody else who's in the playoffs right now. They're trying to wait and see. So you got Doc. It wasn't
Udoka.
It's not Udoka.
That's in the playoffs right now.
Yeah.
Money Williams?
No, not him. They're trying to see if they want to let him go or not.
I can only think of Money, Jason, Kidd. As far as head coaches, those are the four that are left.
That's it. Wow. I feel like there's another name with that, but it was definitely Doc Rivers though. We're trying to see what happens with him.
I heard about Doc Rivers. I'm not really a big fan of that one, but
yeah, I'm not a big fan of Doc Rivers either. But they're trying to wait and see. Now they did have a coach in the building, but they let him go. And Jason Kidd, that was supposed to be their head coach, but they still just hired him from the get-go because that's one of the main coaches that they wanted. So, and not only that, but to let Tyronn Lue slip, I feel like he would have been the perfect coach for them. And yeah, I just think Terry Stotts is not a good fit. I would like for them to see what Greg Popovich is going to do. If you could get Pop coaching LeBron, I would love that. Can you imagine Pop and LeBron together? Those two great NBA minds together.
I don't know if it's Team USA or something, but I don't see that ever happen.
It could happen now. It could happen.
I'm leaving the Spurs for after 30 years.
Hey, he has so much respect with the league, though. And the players are going to listen to him. And he's not going to play. He's going to get in your face. And that's what they need. I need a coach that's going to tell, hey, it's not scary to tell LeBron, hey, you need to do this. Russ, get on the bench. You need to do this. I'm going to stag you a minute. And to, at least adjust. And he probably leave the Spurs. I know the Spurs is home, but I was just wondering if he's willing to maybe just for 2 years. Just try it out for 2 years. Be in LA for 2 years. You still have your house in San Antonio.
I feel like Greg Popovich is the most loyal one of the probably most loyal people you'll ever meet, just based on what I know about it. I've never met him actually, so it's to see him anywhere but San Antonio would be like not real to me. It wouldn't make sense. Like, I get what you're saying, and yeah, of course, like everyone respects Pop, everyone in the basketball world. But I just couldn't see it. Like, I couldn't see that pairing at all. So it'll be a crazy scenario, and yeah, like to see those two minds like meet in LeBron and Greg Popovich, insane, right? But I'm like 99% sure of that. No way that would happen.
Man, I would love to see.
It'd be crazy though. It'd be crazy.
I would love to see if that could happen. And I guess the other thing they could do is maybe get a coach that's not a big name like Darvin Ham. He has a lot of respect around the league apparently.
Oh, the other one. You maybe just. I think they were talking about JB Bickerstaff from Cleveland.
I think so.
Yeah.
That's another one. Could potentially be a good one. I don't know. I just hope they get a coach. Whoever they get has gotta be able to get in their face, and to be a coach that's willing to adjust. Because Jason Kidd, I think he would be one of he could have been a perfect fit for him, based on what he's doing with the Mavericks right now. So, and he's respected, and he's had some decent coaching experience. And I know he's a coach that can adjust. That's my main thing. At least I know he can adjust. There we go. Just remember, Quinn Snyder. Just came top of my head. Quinn Snyder. That's the other one. That's the other one. But he's already out of the playoffs. But they're trying to see if he's going to leave. So that's the other one. It's Quinn Snyder and Doc Rivers. It's crazy how that came to my mind just now. So Quinn, I think he might be out the door in Utah. Utah, we had a conversation about this. They need to change.
There's a lot going on with Utah, man.
Like I said, blow it up. Everything. D-Wade gone. Everybody out.
D-Wade should sell this show right now.
Yeah, everybody out. We do this. This ain't working. But yeah, Quinn Snyder could be potentially out. So that's what they're trying to wait and see. So we're probably not gonna hear anything else until maybe a couple weeks from now. Especially